Joining us now from Washington, D.C. is the governor of Banco de Mexico. He's Agustin Carstens. Governor Carstens, thank you so much for joining us here on Street Smart. What do you make of what's come out of these meetings so far, particularly as it pertains to Europe at this point? Are they doing enough in your view?
Well, certainly they have been working very hard, the European countries, to put together a strong message of decisiveness, of them going to follow through with what they have committed in the late part of the summer, and trying to ring-fence the situation of Italy and Spain, and fully implementing the commitments they have done so far. So I have seen a lot of decisiveness, so we're expecting them to follow through with all these commitments.
But do you feel like it's fast enough, Governor Carstens, considering the turmoil that we're seeing in global markets? We did see some relief today, a little bit, after expectations that maybe they're going to move forward with something more quickly here. But do you feel like, in your view, based on what we're seeing and what the global economy looks at this point, that they're working fast enough?
Well, all these issues are hard to deliver in the very short period of time, and needless to say, Europe faces a more protracted period to make decisions. I think that there have been important issues that have been tackled. I think the ECB, for example, have made very decisive moves to keep markets working, to keep the interbank lines working to get funding out there. So I think that we have seen a response so far.
Only from the ECB, right? I mean, everybody leaves it up to the central banks to do all the heavy lifting. Don't the governments have to come together and do their part as well?
Well, that's for sure. I mean, what central banks usually do is to provide bridges. And obviously, there need to be some follow-through from the other European authorities. That's what we're all expecting, and they have made strong commitments to get us there as soon as possible.
Governor Carstens, let me ask you, because you guys are an export-led economy, are you banking on that we do see a global recession at this point?
Well, I mean, I think that there has been some slowdown in the economy, and there has been some downward corrections in the expectations for the years to come. Even though I think that the central scenario and what really matters the most for Mexico is the U.S.,
right,
is that the U.S. will maintain its resiliency. I think the U.S. will have lower growth, but it will be positive growth. And I think with the support of fiscal and monetary policy, we have a good chance to see a pickup in activity as time passes in 2012.
Carol mentions your export-led economy, and obviously the Mexican economy is tied very closely to the U.S. economy. How interconnected are these economies now? Because if Europe has problems, we have problems. If we have problems, you have problems. I mean, are we all in the same boat? If we have a global recession, we all have it, or does anyone escape that?
No, you're absolutely right. There is no single country that can be considered a decoupled economy. Certainly Mexico depends mostly on the U.S., but from the point of view of financial markets, we're all interconnected. Capital markets are very linked, and the process of deleveraging, the risking that we have seen, has affected all the markets at the same time. So that's why it's very important that in meetings like the ones we're having right now in Washington, we try to get a more coordinated response towards stabilizing the world economy, and especially offering more guarantees for financial stability in the future.
One last question, Governor Carstens. I'm curious, you said that you don't expect the U.S. to go into recession. So what is going on in the U.S. economy, since you guys are, the United States and Mexico, so tied closely to one another? How is that impacting what goes on in the U.S., your policy-making decisions at this point?
Well, certainly it affects us a lot. From the point of view of monetary policy, we watch very carefully what the U.S. economy is doing and what the prospects for growth in Mexico is doing. Certainly that has affected the determination of our monetary policy position. But in addition, it also basically has made us realize that we need to generate more internal sources of growth. We need to follow through with some structural reforms that we need to do so that we can depend more on internal growth and not so much on export-led growth, as you mentioned.
We're going to leave it on that note. Governor Carstens, thank you so much. Agustin Carstens, Banco de Mexico governor.